Like, you gotta stand up for your people. You gotta stand up for your country, because what we have here in the United States today, we have, not only do we have modern day slavery because of all these different hate groups dividing the people, but we have a civil war going on here in our country. We got true Americans going to war with black foreigners and the foreign ideology. So it's already bad enough that the American blacks can show proof of their connection being here in the Americas, right? But we have these other groups, these communist groups, these groups that want to destroy the United States from the inside out. We have these groups saying that all black people come from Africa, all life originated out of Africa. And that's, at this point, it's an absolute lie, because at this point, we have information, updated information proving otherwise, right? So I want you guys to not only observe but listen closely to what the Pan Africans are saying.
Colored, black, African American, right? They took Hausa people, they took Ashanti and turned them into Negroes. That was the reclassification.
Hold on, let me rewind it.
There was no reclassification of Hausa people. They took Ashanti and turned them into Negroes. That was the
They took
reclassification.
Ashantis. You heard him, right?
African American, right? They took Hausa people. They took Ashanti and turned them into Negroes. That was the reclassification.
They took
There was no
Ashanti and reclassified them to Negro. This is what he's saying, right? They took Ashanti, people from Africa, and reclassified them as Negro. Now let's listen. Continue on.
reclassification of you was really an Indian and you became a no you had a tribal name, you came from a tribal people, and then they just mixed y'all all up and called y'all all Negroes, right? When really an Indian and you
Right.
became Ashanti and turned them into Negroes. That was the reclassification. There was no reclassification of you was really an Indian and you became a no you had a
There was
tribal
no
name, you came from a tribal.
classification. He said there was no classification of you being Indian and they turned you into Negro. This is what he's saying. All right, so remember, the Pan African just got through saying there's no way an Indian could have ever been reclassified to Negro, right? Or to black. So we all, he claiming we all come from Africa. So what I'm going to show you guys is there is, or there was, Indians being reclassified or misclassified to Negro and black. So I'm gonna start from 1920 going backwards, because this is really, 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 really important, when you get your family records and when you start understanding what they were doing at this time, right? So right before your eyes, this is the state of Oklahoma is listing the state and the county. So this is Oklahoma, McCurtain County, and McCurtain is a chief, a Choctaw chief, an old school Choctaw chief that my family was helping back in the days to uh, have Choctaws gain possession of their land or retain possession of their land, right? So shout out to Chief McCurtain. Shout out to my family members. This is the year 1920 of the United States. So further down, what we have is we have Clem Lee, Uncle Clem. They have him listed as color of race mulatto. Once again, color of race, not race. And that's another thing. When you pay attention to these records, you will see it says color of race and not race. So what they have used was color of race to say, well, this is your race. Your race is mulatto. Your race is black. So this is what they were doing at that time. So we have number one, Clem Lee. So for you guys to get a better understanding of what these people look like, I'm gonna show you a picture. Let me see. Let me find Uncle Clem. Okay, so this is Uncle Clem, right? He's the head of the household. Uncle Clem is all the way to the left hand side. He's number one, and then after him are his sons. So if for anybody who has traveled across the world or traveled to Mexico, Uncle Clem and his sons look like the original people in Mexico, right? So this is Uncle Clem and his boys, and Clara on the census record is his wife, right? And then Odessa, that's his daughter. But we're gonna go further down and skip to the Whitakers, right? We're gonna skip to my great grandfather and my great grandmother, right? So this is the Whitakers. Now, Jack Whitaker, let me take Uncle Clem. Well, I could leave Uncle Clem picture up, him and his boys, because some of y'all could be related to me. A lot of y'all could be related to me, to be honest with you. But Jack Whitaker, underneath Jack Whitaker, the head is his wife, Patsy Whitaker. Patsy Whitaker is also known as Patsy Hall. So, matter of fact, let me take down Uncle Clem picture. Let me put up Patsy Hall's picture. This is Patsy Hall. Let me zoom in on Patsy, Grandma Patsy. So, as you guys can see, this is Grandma Patsy and her grandson. Grandma Patsy is an Indian, but like I told y'all, with most of the original people here, they look like what we would call black today, right? So let's see what they got down for Grandma Patsy. So when you look, I'm gonna put it right next to color of race. So when you look at what it says about Grandma Patsy and Grandpa Jack Whitaker, it's saying that they're both black, right? But then it says their children underneath them are mulattoes. So if mulatto is a race of its own, how do two blacks make a mulatto, right? So these are the games that they were playing on these census records to confuse us and get us away from our tribal family, to get us away from family, period, in general, right? You guys see the beef for black for both of my relatives, grandfather and grandmother. But it does not stop there. So let's go back to when Patsy, let me see. Uh, we want to go back to when they called her Freedman, right? So what year is this? This is like the 1900s. So it went from the ninth. So now we went from the 1920s to now we're in the 1900s. So I would say between 1899 and 1900, right? This is where there was making a lot of full blood Choctaw Indians and turning them into freedmen. So here it is. We went from black, now we're going to freedmen, right? Let me find Grandma Patsy on here. Here she go. Grandma Patsy. Let me zoom in. Grandma Patsy Whitaker, and this is her daughter, Fannie Hall, and her other daughters, Irene Whitaker, Elvira Whitaker. So they got Grandma Patsy as a freedman. So now we have black, now we have freedmen, right? This is Patsy Whitaker. This is what she looked like to the right. This is her name to the left. So now we're going to go further back. Now we're going into the 1800s, right? Let me take this down. Hmm. Okay, here we go. So with this image, matter of fact, let me zoom this in. We got to put Grandma Patsy back up there so you guys can forever understand what she looked like, right? Well, before I do, let me show Grandma Patsy's son, which is my grandfather's father. So on this record, right, underneath Grandma Patsy name, we going back to the 1920 census, right? It has Sally Whitaker, her daughter, one of her daughters, and then it has Stanley Whitaker. Stanley Whitaker, here he is right here. I love you, Grandpa Stanley. Shout out to Stanley Whitaker, right? This is what he looked like. So they were changing a lot of redskins because to be redskin, you could be light skin and redskin or dark skin and redskin, right? It's that red undertone, right? They were making a lot of Indians Negroes and blacks, right? I just got through showing it. You guys just got through seeing it. So I just want to revisit this to give you an image in color of what Grandma Patsy's son looked like, which is one of my grandfathers, right? So we're gonna zoom out of there. We're gonna go back here. So now we're in the 1800s. This is Grandma Patsy. Grandma Patsy Whitaker was before she was married, she was Patsy Hall. As you guys can see, she was Patsy Hall. Her father name was Lewis Hall. Her mother name was Nellie Hall, and she had her siblings, Thomas Hall. This is going to be very important, Thomas Hall. I'm gonna show y'all why. So, let me see. Let me zoom in a little bit. Let me pull up her picture again. So, um, we got the names down packed. The head of the family, L Hall, N Hall at the top. So what we're going to do now is going to say nationality of these parents to the left. So it's going to say nationality all the way down. Matter of fact, I could take this off. You have Choctaw. For these people to the left, you have Choctaw and you have state free Choctaw, right? Right? Let me zoom back up. So to whom they belong to the right, it says to whom they belong before the emancipation, it had their slave owners. So Indian slavery was already going on here. Slavery in the Americas was already going on here. Um, they were trying to enslave the people here and turn them into Negro, black, and colored. So for the Pan African to sit up here and say there's no way possible for the Indians to be turned into Negroes, freedmen, and black, I just proved you wrong with records, family records, tribal records. And I use the United States Census records to prove you wrong, to debunk what you said, right? But I'm gonna end it off on this note. Thomas Hall, to the left, Thomas Hall, my relative. If you guys can see my cursor to the left, this is what they did to the Indians. This is why the Indians, when they talk about the Freedman story and who the Freedmen are Indians that was reclassified to Freedmen, misclassified to Negro, misclassified to Black, and for some today, African American. They played these games to keep us divided. They played these games to keep us from knowing who we are. This is why they keep switching names, right? So this is the Choctaw Nation Freedman role. So it says granted, transfer to Choctaw Freedman. Well, what was he transferred from? If you're making him a Choctaw Freedman now, what is he transferred from, right? They were taking the real Indians, the real Choctaw, the full bloods, and turning them into freedmen, Negro, black, colored, so they could take the land, so they could tax the Indians. This is exactly what happened. And not only that, let me go here. Now let me share a little secret with y'all, like concerning the word Negro, right? So this is the Coco Nino Sun. This is a newspaper. Flagstaff Saturday, February 11th, 1899, right? So what we're going to do is scroll down and I'm going to share something very important with you. What I want y'all to do is screenshot this too as well. Pause the video, screenshot it, but we're starting to the lower right-hand side. This is about the word Negro and what they were doing. The Alabama legislator who wants a law enacted substituting the word Negro for the word colored wherever it refers to the black race has common sense on his side. Negro means black man, but a person of color. Let's read that again. A Alabama legislator who wants a law enacted substituting the word Negro for the word color wherever it refers to the black race has common sense on his side. Negro, with a capital N, Negro means a black man, but a person of color, which is the legal phrase in Alabama now, means anything from a red Indian to a coal black African. I can't make this up. It just told you, it just said that Negro Because at one particular time, Negro did not mean a colored person, right? So now they're getting Negro to mean a colored person going into the 1900s. And it says, wherever it refers to the black race has common sense on his side, Negro means black man, but a person of color, which is the legal phrase in Alabama now. It means anything from a red Indian to a coal black African. So what this is saying is they were using this word to describe two different people, an Indian and an African, and putting them in the same classification and mistreating both of them, especially mistreating the Indian. Because if the Indian is original here and he already had rights and free and he was free, then they was trying to take the land from the Indian and put him in the same category as an African. I just destroyed Pan Africans using the word Negro. I just destroyed that shit, just like that, just that quick. Man, I hope y'all enjoyed. Oh man, I just hope y'all enjoyed. This is the Mac. I always got to smack these Pan Africans and these pro blacks upside their head. But yeah, I'm out.